Greetings. Welcome to day 12 of the 30 days of Halloween. I'm doing it. I don't believe I'm doing it, but I'm doing it. Okay, today my intention was to speak to you about spirit dolls. I'm still going to speak to you about spirit dolls and tell you about spirit dolls, and I'm going to make a spirit doll and share with you how I'm doing that. But things take a twist. Like when it got a little turn in the road. My path, I thought I was going in one direction, and all of a sudden it turned on me. And it really turned in a good way, to be honest. I'm sort of excited about this. So I'll tell you all about that in a minute. Spirit dolls can be many things to many people. But basically, they are a doll that holds the energy of your intention. Now, that could be confusing because when we make puppets, aren't we holding an intention within the puppet? And when we do spell work and things, yes, that's absolutely correct. We do that with a puppet, but this is a little bit different kind of intention. A puppet is for a specific. Puppets are created. Now, of course, this is my belief, my opinion. But in my opinion, puppets are created to enhance a desire of my intention, to enhance an outcome. They're used for spell work, a specific spell. Each puppet represents a spell, one spell. And I make a puppet, and I do the spell, and I put the puppet where I want to put the puppet, and okay, we've been through that before. A spirit doll is something that is a little different. A spirit doll is used, for the most part, to hold the energy of your intention, but your intention as it applies to working with the spirits of maybe your ancestors, or working with the energies of a particular deity, or perhaps, some energy, some kind of energies around you relating to the elements. In our case today, I am wishing to create a spirit doll that holds the spirit, so I can work with the spirit of the crone. That's that one. The crone, of course, the goddess is in the crone stage at phase, whatever you want to call it, of her existence, and the Samhain is all about the crone to me, and celebrating the crone and embracing my own crone-ness. Okay, it's not a spell. I'm not trying to I'm not making a doll for a spell. I'm going to make the doll. Another thing about these spirit dolls they are also used by making conscious choices. Like the materials I use, I've done in a very conscious way. Where we created a puppet, we don't even have to create a doll. Remember, we did a puppet. We did a paper puppet. I just drew a picture out of paper for my spell to enforce my intention, to make my intention even clearer, right? To hold my intention. This doll I am creating. If you want to say channeling, that seems like it's not the proper word, but I'm embracing the spirit of the crone when I collect my materials to create her in doll form. Okay, that's what I want to say. Very often they're made of materials found in nature. They're made out of sticks and feathers and stones and twigs and bark and clay. Often they're clay. They can be clay. Sometimes they're made out of fabric or wool. There could be felted wool, all kinds of things they can be made from. But it's very often having to do with nature, some natural elements. They're also embellished in a lot of ways. They're usually embellished with little charms or trinkets or whatever, for whatever purposes. Okay, and then what do we do with them? We don't bury them like we bury a puppet. They're given a place of honor. They're given a place of honor in our homes, normally on an altar, perhaps, because so they can be. We hold them as objects of devotion, right? We don't pray to them like gods. We're not going to pray to them. These are not. This is not about worshiping idols, statues. We're not worshiping that. That is not the god or the goddess to me, but it is. It holds the energy, holds the aspects for me of crone nests, and so it's very much a part of my altar at this time. I can use it on my altar if I want to have it hold up. If I want to create a spirit doll to hold the energies of the intention to communicate with my ancestors, I might create a spirit doll, and in that, and the way I dress it and embellish it would be to connect with my ancestors in a certain way, and that would be a good place, something to put on the ancestor altar if I had one at Samhain. Okay. It's often petitioned with gifts or offerings. We sometimes give it, think about on an ancestor altar, like we offer, we might give spirits favorite beverages or foods, like the little pumpkin pasties we made yesterday. That could be an offering. It's not, again, I'm making an offering to a god. I want to be very clear. It's not doing that. It is feeding. It is putting, petitioning this spirit of the doll, the spirit of the doll, to invoke the power of that intention into my own life and help me grow in spiritual practice. Okay, that's what I'm really looking for right now at Samhain with the crone. Help me embrace my crone. What is that about? And it is not just about, an earlier version of me would have said that I am at the place where I am just going to be wise and just going to be old and just going to know stuff and not get too involved in stuff. But no, I've come to realize, no, and particularly this season, I'm coming to realize that remember the apple seed inside the apple. Remember when I told you about the apple seed, we found that apple, that magic star, some people call it, inside the apple when we cut it, and we took those seeds out there and we tried the story. We reminded ourselves that the crone, as she ages, just like an old tomato in the garden, and gets beyond her peak, beyond her peak where you really don't even want to eat it anymore. It's just kind of almost rotten. The seeds inside that tomato are at their peak. They're very, very, they're virile, and they can be taken and preserved and dried and then planted to grow a whole new crop of tomatoes next year. The crone at Samhain, the god has died and gone into the underworld, and the crone holds his seed because he will be returning at Yule. She plays a very important part there. And this is where my pathway kind of took a little turn, and I want to tell you why. Because, first of all, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to make a new crone doll today. A new spirit doll today, and I'm going to show that. But I'm going to put a link to one of my old videos, because I'm making my crone, my spirit doll, out of an apple, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. And I'm going to link you to an old video that I had, which showed, if you are interested in making a doll with using an apple for the head and want to see how I dried it to make it a face. There's a face inside that apple waiting to come out, and it's simple. It's very simple to do. It does not take long to do it. You have plenty of time to do one now before salad, because you can dry the apple in your oven on a very low setting very quickly, so anybody can do it. And if you want to know how, there's a link to that video, because I'm not going to take this video to show you how to do that part of it. But I want to say, when I was thinking about making my doll, I was thinking about making a new apple head, because I do like apples at Samhain. I like to use apple heads a lot for the crone, because I'm fascinated, and I tell you why in the video, but there's a face inside that apple just dying to come out. when I was searching through my cupboards looking for something that things I wanted to use to make my doll, I found in the back of my cupboard an old apple head that I had made, I made it with the intention of turning it into a spirit doll, that I did not ever finish it. Because I think I was making other dolls at the time. I've done that, I think maybe even in the video where I cut, where I did that, showed you how to make that head, that apple head doll head. I think I showed you how to do the spirit doll, make them into spirit dolls. I think I showed you what I did at the time. This head is probably that old. So I don't know how old that video is, but it's several years old. And I found this head stuck on the back of my cupboard, and it's so pathetic. I'm going to want to tell you pathetic. It's still fine. It's not rotten or anything because it's dried. And I have it on a stick. That's why I know, because I had it set on these sticks, like they were going to be the feet. And they're like bird feet. I have this thing about the birds. See, they're... And here, if I can get a nice close-up, I don't even know if you can see that face. I'm not even sure you can. But it's very shriveled. It's not terribly more shriveled than it was. It's fine. It has eyes, but it clothes for eyes that are still intact, but there's no light in the eyes. I had not finished the eye. And it has the features, the nose and the mouth and the chin. And it's really, I'm not sure if the light is even well enough in here to see it. I'll just turn it a couple ways, just in case you can. But there's even some blackening of the apple on the one side. It's something that normally should just go in the compost bin. But I was looking at this crone, and I was thinking at this apple head, and I was remembering, this past week, we've had such a trauma here. I don't know if I've mentioned it or not, but we had this California pepper tree in our backyard, in the back corner of our lot, which was actually a volunteer. It just grew there from, I don't know, one other kind of a pepper tree somewhere else. They're everywhere here in California, Southern California. They're very invasive. They grow very big. They drop horrible leaves everywhere, and the little berries of them everywhere. And it's right near my pool. So my pool guy does not appreciate that tree. But we love the tree. It grew so tall. It was so big. It was way up over the power lines, and the power company had to come in every year and trim it down. But it was in the corner of our lot and our neighbor's lot and the neighbor behind us lot. It's right in the corner there. And it had grown so large that it was infringing on everybody's property. It was knocking the fences over, and it was a mess. It was an absolute mess, and we kept trying to trim it, and we just couldn't do it. And when the power company came by, we had been working on trying to trim it, and when the power company came by to say they were going to be doing some work up on the top, they just wanted to let us know they were going to be up there and doing some trimming over the top, keep it away from the power lines. They gave us information saying, because this tree is so close to the pole, it's like really close to the pole, that they would come and remove the tree probably for free. So we talked about it, and we decided we're going to have it removed. And the stump grinders are coming on Monday to finish the job. But I'm in so much mourning over this tree. So many families of birds and mice and squirrels and all kinds of animals have been over the years in that tree. It has provided beautiful shade in the yard, which we loved, and looked pretty. It covered that corner with all the wires and stuff. It made it pretty, and it breaks my heart. It breaks our hearts to even see it gone. Our neighbors are rejoicing. The fire people are rejoicing, but I don't rejoice over the loss of a tree ever. And I had been told, I think I told the story before, because people recommended to me, take cuttings from the tree. I have some nice cuttings. I'm going to make a couple of wands, try to make some wands out of some of the branches. And I have some short to try to, take the energies of that tree and give it back to something else, renew it. So I have some thin branches off of here. And this is what I was going to do I was going to use them in my in my spiritual, to try to, she's old. Looks like she's had her time gone, but she's gonna have her heyday. She's gonna have a heyday this Samhain. She's gonna be the star of the show. We're gonna make her pretty. I'm gonna make her pretty, and I'm going to bring her to life, back to life, using the cuttings from this pepper tree that's not with us either right now. And I want to show you how I'm going to do it. Okay, so I'm just going to be working along here. I want to show you how I'm going to what kind of things I look for when I'm going to, because I'm not sure what she's going to look like yet. I've got some feeling, some ideas, but I'm not exactly sure. But I wanted to just show you the process, because when you are picking up things to form yours, it's all about inspiration. It's all about inspiration. You don't have to use an apple head for your doll, for your head. You can use a beautiful, like I've seen some dried flower pods. I'm not even sure what they're called. They almost look like a pine cone if you cut the bottom off, and it's like a sunburst of a pine cone, but it's that dry stuff. That would make a beautiful head for a doll. You could make one out of clay, of course, Fimo or paper mache. If you want to make a head like that, you could make them. You could make it out of fabric and give it button eyes like you would on a poppet. That's fine. Do whatever appeals to you. Doesn't have to have a face at all. Doesn't have to have a face at all. And then collect things. Look around you and see what kind of things out of doors you might want to use on yours. Or in my case too, I came in and then I looked indoors in my cupboards and things to see what kind of supplies I had that I could maybe use to make my doll, to dress her, because I want to dress her. And I'm just going to show you, before I change the camera, some of the things that I found. I decided, usually when we think of a crone, we are, my first thing I thought of was, we think of the skinny old withered up crone figure, old woman figure. Well, I'm a crone and I'm not skinny withered up in any way. So I decided to plump mine up a little bit, give her some meat on her bones, give her some substance. She's been wasting away in the back of the cupboard long enough. So I have some cotton balls here. I just have cotton balls. You could use batting, you could use rags, you could use newspaper, wadded up paper, whatever you wanted. If you wanted fatten up. And then I just have some white linen scraps. I keep all my scraps. I have so much white linen in my house, you don't even know, drawers of it. Because in the SCA, all of my underdresses are made of this. My husband's under tunics are made of this. His braids, that's his underpinnings, are made of this. The coifs that we wear on our head is made of this. Some of my veils are made of it, the thinner, at least the lighter weight linen. We use it all the time. I use linen for making cheese. We use linen for napkins, linen for aprons. So I always have linen white linen, and I always have pieces of it, and I save all the pieces. And I'm just going to, tear strips of this so I can pad her figure and wrap her around. And I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to show you how I dress her after that, but I'm going to get that part. Well, I don't know. I'll show you what I can along the way, and then I'll probably edit just so that you get the gist. I think that's the best way to do it. But anyway, I'm going to get her nice and padded. And then I wanted to find some fabric, to cover her, to dress her. And I just got in my drawers, and I have some different kinds of fabrics. I don't have a lot. Most of my fabric is wool or linen. But I wanted to share a few things I have to give you some ideas. First of all, I want to tell you, if you do not sew and you do not have fabrics, in your stash, that you can go to Joann's or Michael's or places like that, and they have what they sell these little squares of fabric. It's called a fabric quarter. It's just, they're 100% cotton. Quilters use this because quilters want a whole lot of different cotton fabrics, a whole lot of different ones. They don't want a whole lot of one same, so they sell these to quilters. That's who mostly has them. I buy them because I make aprons for my hens out of these. Sometimes my hens will peck at each other and they get feathers out of the back end or wherever, and for whatever reason, or they're molting, and or they get an injury, and if they have any blood or any redness on their skin, the other chickens will peck at that. So we need to cover that up to protect it. People also use aprons to protect a hen from a rooster, his spurs, but we won't go into that. I don't have a rooster, but I do make aprons for my chickens. From time to time they wear them. But anyway, so you can buy one of these in whatever colors you want. These come in prints and they come in, solids, all different colors. And it's cotton, so if you want to, if you're worried about having natural fiber, this is really good. It's a really good deal for those of you who do not sew. Another option is old clothing. This is something that I've been cutting up for years. I have all kinds of things. This is an old silk nightshirt, I probably think it is. Something like that. But I just noticed I had the fabric in there. I've used some of this for some tarot bags. It's really beautiful. And, I believe I even have my hoi polloi deck out of this fabric. But anyway, it has a gorgeous embroidered pocket on the front. Can you see that? That I thought, I might be able to use that for an apron or something on my doll. That's really pretty. So old clothes, you might have old clothes of favorites on there, or something that you're going to throw away. Take pieces of it if you like the fabric. I had some lace here, which I just noticed this morning. It smells like an old woman. I mean, it smells like perfume. I don't even know what to say. It smells like perfume. And I want to tell you, I don't wear perfume. I do not. So I don't know why it smells like perfume, but it does. I don't know where I got it. I must have got it at an estate sale or something. But it's beautiful. It's purple lace with some silvery glitter. I thought that might be pretty for my doll, to make her pretty. I have some plain brown. I like this weavy fabric. I have a tunic made out of that fabric. Has a neat weave to it. And then I have this real soft fabric that's floral, but it's earth tones. It's greens and purples and gold brown. I think I bought this to make some cushions for my chairs on the gazebo. I still can, but I can use a little bit for my doll. I'm sure I have enough to make a little bit for my doll. So those are things I pulled out right away. I have some things like jute, twine, different kinds of twine, different strength. I have feathers. Of course, I always have feathers. I always collect feathers. Use those and things. I have a little bit of paint to put some color in her eyes and maybe give her a little rouge on the cheeks. And then I have a selection of beads and wire and whatever I need. Oh, and I found, I think I shared this little case with you last time when I did my jars. I have inside it, I just pulled this out of my brush this morning. I have hair, saved hair, my hair. I'm going to use on her, give her some hair so she's not bald. But I also have some little trinkets inside here that I'm going to be using too, as well. And you'll see them as I embellish her, what I'm going to be using. But I have a little box, I told you about it before, that I just collect little odd bits. When you get little charms or little bits or little whatever you don't want to get rid of, if you collect them, they're really handy when you want to do things like this. Or decorate your bottles like I did in my cupboard or whatever. There's a lot of things I do with these. Let's trinkets out of here. You're going to be seeing this box a lot in the future because I'm going to show you a lot of projects that I do this way. Okay? So I'm going to just change my camera and I'm going to get to work and see what I can come up with for my spirit doll or salad. I thought I would start the camera now and show you. I wanted to experiment a little bit first to see what I wanted to do. Originally, I was going to I'm going to hike up her skirt. I just have her sitting here on this jute to stabilize her a little bit. I was going to originally take that original branch out from under her, these 2 feet, but I just thought I would keep it. And what I did is I added behind her, I cut 2 more lengths of my sticks here, and I just added 2 more legs in the back just to give her a little more stable so she would stand. Now, she doesn't have to stand. Most of these, when I make them, they don't stand. I just make their legs straight. You can lay them up against something on an altar table. You could hang them on the wall. You could attach, some people attach a hook to a wall behind their altar and just, attach her somewhere that way. Or like I had her here sitting down her skirt, something underneath her. Like I had this that she could, just perch on. That's fine. But I just thought it would be easier for me to build her if I had that initial thing. So what I did was I just wrapped, I took I still have it attached because I'm going to continue to use it. I tore a long thin piece of linen and I just started wrapping it around, and I applied some glue underneath, and I used a combination. I had this clear glue I found in the cupboard, which is surprisingly works, but I don't know how long it'll stick. And then I had some hot glue that I put in there as well, just to wrap and cushion that a little bit to stabilize the sticks a little bit. And then I just determined that I was going to, before I went any further, I was going to add a foundation skirt. And that's what I did. I just had a long rectangle of this brown fabric that I showed you. I didn't hem it or anything. It wasn't even that straight. I just sewed a big running stitch up the back. And then I took a running stitch along the long edge and drew that together and tied it. Here's the ends. Tied it in the back. Here's one end. And here's the other end. And I left those intact, these long strings. Because what I want to do now, that was just to cover up the legs. To give her a little bit of, I can stuff underneath her if I want to. But I wanted something that I could attach to the arms. Because here I just took three short lengths of the same pepper tree, same branches, and I just tied them together, simply tied them together, wound some of this thin jute around them, tied them in a bundle, and what I'm going to do with those, I just estimated how long I want them. And what I want to do with those is I want to apply them, here's her face, I want to apply them across her back so that they will stick out as arms. If you can see it from the back, I have that area where I put the jute in there. So when she will look like that. Whoops. She'll look like that. I just estimated how long I wanted to make them. And it didn't have to be 3. It could have been just what I thought I was feeling at the time. Remember, just using our intuition. But anyway, I'm just keeping this piece of white. That's not necessary. That's the way I do things. I kind of wing it as I'm going. I try to figure it out as I'm going, so I allow myself every opportunity. What I want are these black threads. That's what I wanted. The part that held her, that did her skirt. These are the black threads. These are the parts that I want to, I'm going to keep that in front. I want to apply these arms somehow to the back of her, So I'm going to just take these arms first and just cross over, just wrap them around so I made an X in the back. You can do it however you want, but that's a nice, making an X over it and taking each end to the front will help stabilize it. I want to get that centered. It sort of throws me off because her head is loose. It just keeps turning around and spinning. But so I have the 2 pieces going, holding them on in the back. And then I'm just going to cross them in the front. You know what I need to do is I need to secure this out of the way. This is really bugging me. And I think I have a clip I can use. Yeah, when you work like me and you have all this stuff everywhere, I wanted these big clips. just going to see if I can secure it somehow with that clip. At least partially out of the way. There you go. Now, I'm just crossing it back in the front, taking it back to the back again underneath here. Crossing them over the sticks to those in the back, taking them back to the front, crossing them in the front, taking them to the back, crossing them in the back, taking them back to the front. You see, I'm just having to go under this every time. Crossing them in the front, and taking them to the back. And then I'm going to tie them in the back. So those arms are nice and secure. They're not going anywhere right now. And then of course I'm going to put something on top. That's the idea. You just keep adding layers on top. And now I can cut these. You keep adding layers on top of things, and then it holds it. So now I can secure this. Unsecure that. And I can take this white, the end of my length. Now remember, I hope that doesn't confuse you, because there's no way you have to have that big long length. I just tore the length of the fabric I had. I ended up with this big long length. Rather than cut it, I just thought I would leave it attached and continue winding with it. You could just very easily add a new piece of something to wind around there. But I'm just going to do over and under. I went under the arms, I came around the back, went under the arms from the back, then went over the arms in the front, over the arms in the back, and around. And I just keep going. I just keep going. And then I go over again, underneath that head, cross it again in the front, and I'm going to just take this around. Now, if I wanted to make her a little fatter, she's getting a little bit padded as I go. And also, it secured her head from turning, so I like that a lot. So I'm going to keep that where it is, and I'm just going to keep winding this around her bodice, and that makes her a little padded. Remember I said I had these cotton balls that I was going to use, but I don't need to do that. And I think I'm going to take some glue and secure that. I have a nice little body here. I have a nice foundation. She doesn't stand as well as I'd like to do, but my husband did point out, when I'm finished, it's going to change the center of gravity where she stands, her balance. It might just be a point of, she might be top heavy, she might be going to the front, so I could just shorten these back legs a little bit and she can stand a little bit easier. But there's no sewing. I mean, I sewed up here, but you could, again, glue that if you wanted to. You could even leave it open, make it a little extra big and leave it open, because we're just the front that we're really looking at. Okay, but she's starting to take shape. She's starting to get some life in her. I like that she has a little substance to her body. Okay, so the next thing I think I want to work on, I'm going to just let her perch here on that string so she doesn't fall over. There we go. And I'd like to work on, I really would like to make an apron or something out of this piece here, out of this pocket. It was a pocket. So let me just cut that and see what I have. I like that a lot. So let me just cut off the extra. The part that was, there's a seam. Again, I'm not going to hem this. Because it's not, you know, and you don't have to worry about it if you don't have sewing skills, because she's not going to go out walking in her clothes. She's not going to wear them to do things like we wear our clothes and do things. So they're not going to get much. They don't have to be, they don't have to be put together that well. It's just the intention. Remember, it's the intention behind what you're doing. It's not an art and craft project, even though it requires some, perhaps some kind of creativity that arts crafts require. Oh, that's going to be beautiful. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, I just determined, some more of this black thread, and I'm going to take some of this cord. I'm just going to take a length and I can double it and have plenty to tie around her. I'm going to sew it because that's what I do, but you don't need to do that. Oops, fabric scissors. Sewing skills are not required. I happen to have sewing skills, and for me, sewing skills, I'm going to double this. It's easier for me to sew something up than it is for me to glue half the time, because I told you about I have this horrible glue phobia. Some people are incredible with a glue gun. They're an artist with a glue gun. Remember, it's just your intention. You don't have to have anything sewn at all. Whatever it is you're trying to make, and remember, my spirit doll holds my intention. So it'll be requiring different materials and different treatment than yours. Whatever kind of things you want to have in yours. I was just thinking how glorious of a time this is for this kind of a, okay. I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the skirt so you can see that. I don't know if you'll be able to see because it's black. But I'm just going to, since I don't want this big wide, the top of this pocket is wide. And she is a little doll. So I'm going to fold that in half. I'm just going to fold that down, and I'm going to treat that like it's, I'm going to sew it down. And I'm going to just go with a running stitch. I knotted it on the end, whatever. I'm just going to go in and out. Let me get it started. I'm going to leave a length. I'm going to, you see that? I went and I didn't pull it the whole way through. I left a length. And this is dark, and I can't see. But I'm just going to go running stitch in and out. See, big wide. Because what I want to do is gather. I want to be able to gather this edge. Like I gathered her skirt. And you do that by just making a basting stitch, running stitch, gathering stitch, whatever you want to call it. But I have a big wide, big long stitch. And I'm just sewing that down because I wanted to bend that over. If you can see that, I don't know. Black is black on black in a room that's not very lit. I don't know if you have any choice. Anyway, I was just thinking about my crone and my intention with my crone. You know, this poor sorry crone, poor sorry apple head, stuck in the back of the cupboard. That's a dreary existence, right? That's kind of a dreary existence. That's not the happy grandma crone knitting with her friends and playing with her grandchildren. That's a sad experience for crone. And I was just thinking about this year, you know, what my intention for the crone is. This year has been just, I don't think there's anybody alive in the world who thinks this is a great year. Between the virus and so many horrible things have happened. Just so many. I don't even know. It's hard to even imagine what to say about it. And we're in the darkness right now. We're so very much in the darkness. And but we have hope. We hope things are going to get better. And the hope that we have that things are going to get better is that seed inside the crown. It's the seed, it's the hope, the promise of the light returning, of the God returning to us, of the light returning, and us surviving the darkness after all. And something new and beautiful coming in the future. So that's what my spirit doll has. So I just cut that. And all I'm going to do is, now that I have that running stitch, and I didn't knot it, you see this, it'll gather along her waist, it'll gather. See that? So I can take it and I can wrap it around your little waist, like an apron. Oh, that's cute as shit. Oh, that's cute as, excuse my mouth. And it works really well having her sit on there. So you have to just be, you have to be flexible when you're working with things like this. You just have to use what works. Use things around you that work. Before I tie her too tight, I want to make sure I have it right. I want to make sure I have it looking right and gathered right. It's a little too tight. I wanted to cover, be open more. Cover more of her skirt, not be quite so tight. There we go, so you can see the design. And then again, I'm going to just take that in the back, the two ends, and tie them. Like I'm tying my shoe. Except I'm tying it in a knot. Then I can tie a bow if I want. Not necessary. I could just tie a knot. I'm just going to tie a knot. She's not going to be taking her apron off. Not going to be coming off. Okay? Sit up on your little spool so everybody can see. And then I can cut off those ends. They do not need to be there. Okay. Now I need to cover her arms. What do I want to cover her arms? Well, I have two things left. I have the lace, and I also have this green, lovely green, which I think, wouldn't that make a lovely shawl? How about a shawl? Or something. Let's see. So, I'm just going to take it. And I can shorten this up if I think this is too long. By rolling that top down a little bit if I want. Kind of like that. I kind of like to position it. Okay, I want to kind of position it on the arms. And let it hang down on the back. Let it hang down on the back. And I think I will secure that, at least the ones underneath. You see this here and here with the belt. I'm going to be tying things around her middle that I want to hang on her. So I think at that time I think I will just secure those ends down. And then from the front, which is how we will be viewing her, we will be seeing that the shawl down here on her skirts. So that's kind of cute. All right, so I need a belt. I need to tie around a belt. And I just happen to have, oh, look at this. My husband found a big piece of jute that I don't even know where it came from. He's always trying to find this again. It must be for the garden. Which would work because it almost is wide enough to be a belt. And I can tie that. Make it a little longer. I can hang things on that belt. Now, the only thing I have left to do to her is I want to add some hair. I want to add some rouge and some light into her eyes, and a little bit of rouge on her face. And then I want to be hanging some embellishments on her. Okay, so I'm going to I'll show you what I'm going to use, and then I will probably cut this, and so it's not too long. Because then I want to make one more accessory from her that I think you might want to see. But there, oh look, she stands up pretty good. She stands up pretty good. Okay. What I'm going to use is, I told you I had some hair from my hairbrush. It's just the right amount for her. And I have some paint, just acrylic paint. I'm going to use some white, give her a little dot in the eye. And then I'm going to maybe use some red or some, maybe white and pink together. Give her a little bit of color in her cheek, get a little bit of wash on her cheek. And tie some things around her waist. We're getting close. We're getting really close. Something that I really wanted to use is, I found these beads. They're little beads. They have poinsettias, little poinsettias on them, which I thought, I'm sure we got them as side tokens for an event at Yule or something. So I thought they would make lovely either earrings or decoration or necklace or something for her. Maybe a necklace would be pretty. Earrings might be too big. But a necklace would be pretty. I could use one for a necklace. While I'm waiting for her to dry a little bit, first of all, her hair is still drying. I added the little necklace. I made her a little necklace. I'll give you a close-up at the end here. You'll see a picture. But she's got her apron. I lengthened the belt. I tied a little loop in the belt down here so that I could I'll show you why. I'm gonna use that for something. And then there's a few things I wanted to add. One thing I wanted to add was, I have some little bells in here. I love to use these old bells. These bells are left over from when I was in college, actually. These tiny little bells. If I could just put some, I might fashion some of those and put some with some beads and things, make that for her. What do I have here? Not sure how many I want to use. No need to use all of them, but I have them. They're kind of cool. And then I have as well this tiny, tiny, tiny little bottle. Tiny, tiny little bottle. I don't know if you can see it. It's a tiny, tiny little bottle with a tiny, tiny little cork. And I'm going to put in there one of the apple seeds that we took out of the apple the day we dried them. And my husband took those seeds and dug out of the apples where we made the magical vinegars. And they've been drying on the altar, and I'm going to take one and put it in here, and she can carry this. She can carry that with her. So, let me see what I can do with that. And then I'm going to make an accessory for her. I'm going to make an accessory for her too. So, I think every crone, I think, needs, I guess I'll show you that now. Every crone needs a broom. And I'm going to make her a broom out of one of my feathers. I collect feathers. I want a nice, I think she should have Oh, that's a cool broom. That is a cool broom. Oh, I like this one. Or should I have a black one? Let's see. I really like the black ones, actually. So all I'm going to do this is I'm going to add, I can add a stick from this, I could add a piece of dowel, or I could add a stick from, again, from my, I think I will, from my pepper tree. Cut a length of that. And give her a lovely broom to fly on. And I will just put some of this twine around it, the size, and some glue, and we're good. And we're good. So I'm going to put some glue on here. I'm going to put some glue on here. Wrap some twine around it. I'm going to get my apple seed in my little jar and maybe hang some bells, give her a belt with some bells on it, and then we'll be back to show you what she looks like all finished. My spiritual is finished. I hope this is a good shot of her. It's hard to tell. It's dark. I'm losing my light as we're speaking. Oh, the darkness. Anyway, I think she's beautiful. I'm very happy with her. The light has come back into her eyes, as you can see. I hope you can see I added a little color to her face. I've accessorized her with this broom that I made. I made a little loop there for her broom, which I made out of one of my hen's feathers, and a piece of the pepper, and a branch from the pepper tree, and some jute, very simple. And I have it upside down because if I put it this way, it's going to hide her costume. I'll put that at the end. But in the costume here, you can see, let me turn you around, you can see different sides of her. She looks lovely from all sides, actually, I think. And she's wearing the little apron that I made out of my silk pajamas and her shawl. She has the necklace that I made here using the little poinsettia bead, which is the reminder that the light will be returning, and at Yule, winter solstice, we will start to increase in light. We'll start to increase in light. It's the darkest day. The darkest day will start to get lighter, 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 lighter. Lighter, lighter. A little more light every day. Still a lot of darkness, but we know it's coming. And she needs a reminder that it's coming because here she carries, I hope you can see, the tiny little bottle. I'm pointing with the broomstick. The tiny little bottle here, tied on her belt, that contains the seed, the apple seed inside. That is the hope for the light coming back into our lives. Coming back into our lives. For me, that is everything the darkness that 2020 has brought. She's also wearing some of my bells these are from my college years, around her waist there in a little belt. This is the way the broom should go, this way, of course. And it'll stand that way too. It'll stand that way too, so that you can see her. But it just covered the embroidery. I wanted you to see it without. I hope this video was okay for you. I hope you were able to see her and appreciate her as I made her. Please don't be afraid to try something like this. I know I didn't do a very good job with this video. I apologize. I sort of got into the mode of thinking and I wasn't really talking. So I didn't really have much to share in the video. But I'm terrifically happy with the way she's come out. There you go. I'm terrifically happy. I think she's beautiful. And I feel she's been avenged for the time she spent in the back of that cupboard, just laying there waiting for her time. And this is indeed her time. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate the comments that you're making about my 30 Days of Halloween series. I love you all. You're so supportive and kind, and I love your comments. I hope to have some time to answer some of your questions. This is a lot of making videos for me, so it takes up a lot of my time getting used to editors and things like that. But I'm really happy to do it for you. I'm happy. I feel a connection with all of you, and with this time of the year, I hope you're getting the most out of your season. I wish you blessings.